I feel like we're in a very interesting situation right now where there truly isn't a clear-cut best cornerback in the league right now. There's several guys who are in the discussion, and to me, one of those guys that's in that discussion is Tre'Davious White. He has been having yet another tremendous season with Buffalo, and he is just consistently getting better and better. He had his biggest test of the season against Odell Beckham Jr. and the Cleveland Browns, and I thought he passed that test with flying colors. He was actually tremendous. I didn't see him get beat really that much at all. I mean, there were a couple times where you could argue he got beat, but none of those were really in bad situations. I didn't really see him get beaten man at all. A couple times in zone, like this play, it was a cover 2 zone, and Odell was running a route right there, which is going to get into a gap in coverage. And for White, he's in charge of covering the zone on the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, so that when Odell runs his route, eventually Odell is going to be in a pretty good situation where he's right here, he's in a gap in coverage, and for White, he does have to make sure that he keeps Odell in front of him. He can't try to run through and knock the ball away, because if this is a go route, for example, he has to be able to keep pace. And even with that, he still broke in pretty quickly and made some contact, but Baker just timed that throw absolutely perfectly, which resulted in a first down. So there were a couple of plays like that, but for the most part, there was not really too much going for the Cleveland Browns when they attacked White, and they clearly made it an effort to not attack him too much because he's a great corner. I think you could argue that the two best cornerbacks in the league right now are both in the same division with Stephon Gilmore and Tre'Davious White. You could make that argument, and White really is a young player just getting better and better. Like, one play that makes him so effective is a play like this, where it's man coverage, and that's going to be Odell Beckham Jr.'s route, and so clearly for Beckham, this is the route you gotta love in this situation. It's a great route against man coverage. It's cutting to the inside, which will create an easier angle for the quarterback to hit you, so this is just a great situation for him. Because look, after he takes a couple of steps, and especially because White didn't jam him at the line whatsoever, this now means that for Beckham, there is clearly some space where he can try to get this catch. I mean, he's about to cut in, so definitely you would think that this could be an easy throw for Baker Mayfield, and of course, Mayfield is going to make this throw. But watch how quickly White is going to be able to get up and knock this ball away. That's not easy to do whatsoever. To be able to, in an instance, just run over and slap that ball away, it's not easy to do whatsoever. It really isn't. Especially when you're going up against a fast guy like Odell Beckham Jr., to be able to keep pace with him and be able to also say, you know what, I know how much I can judge this situation where I can step in front of him and knock it away. And even though also should be mentioned that he understood the situation because this is a one-on-one matchup for him and Odell, but it's not man coverage across the board, so even if he missed it, it doesn't mean that it's going to be a touchdown necessarily. He does have help behind him, so maybe it's a little bit of a risk, but A, he knows his own abilities and knew he could get up and knock that ball away, and B, even if he happened to miss it, there still was help behind him, so it wouldn't be a touchdown, it would just be a solid game. So it's not just talent in that situation, it's talent paired with just, understanding your situations, high IQ football, whatever you want to call it. Just a smart play and a great athletic play by White. And another way White came through was in goal line situations. I mean, everyone was talking about how, man, the Browns can't score. They had 8 tries to try to get the ball in at the 1-yard line and weren't able to do so. And while Cleveland does deserve some blame in certain areas, an element of it is it's just hard to score when there's a number 1 corner who can take away your number 1 receiver, and this play is a good example of that. As you see, it's a one-on-one matchup right over there, and for Beckham, it's going to be a very low-risk, high-reward type situation. Just a fade route. In this type of situation, chances are it's either going to fall incomplete or Beckham's going to make the catch for a touchdown, as long as Baker doesn't horribly miss this throw, which he will not do. Because, I mean, as you see right when the ball is snapped, when Odell runs to the bottom half of the screen, this is a great situation for Cleveland right here, where Odell can look back at the ball, whereas White can't. And also worth mentioning, well, both guys are 5'11". Obviously, we all know about how tall Odell Beckham Jr. can jump. He's obviously, kind of known for that in a sense. So, in a jump ball situation, this is a pretty good situation for Cleveland and for Beckham. Especially because White can't even look back. But you know what? He doesn't have to. He's just going to read Odell on this one. He sees when Odell jumps up, he jumps up also and knocks the ball out of his hands. I mean, again, just a smart play of saying, I don't have time to look back and look for the ball, so I'll just wait until I see you jump. I'll jump also and knock it away that way. Also, I mean, this is why you watch tape, because if you're a receiver getting ready to go up against White, what you might do is say, hey, this guy does this from time to time, maybe I'll fake jump a little bit to get him to jump too early, and then I could jump and make the catch or something like that. Something you could think about doing, but either way, it's a tremendous play by White to be able to read Beckham like that, which is not easy to do, and also just to have the athletic ability to knock the ball away. Now, in fairness, White was not perfect in goal line situations against Beckham. He did have one mistake, and that one mistake was this one. This was actually earlier in the game. This is what set up the 1st and goal at the 1, where it's 3rd and goal at the 1 right now. And if you see on the top half of the screen, it is White going up against Odell Beckham Jr. And basically what's going to happen is it's going to be play action, and then Beckham cuts as though it's going to the inside, but then cuts to the outside, and White just doesn't get his head turned around in time, which is fine, but he also created contact a bit too early, and that resulted in the flag. So that's kind of the negative of not getting your head turned around early enough, is sometimes you just don't get your head turned around early enough, and you create contact, which results in a flag. If you're not playing the ball and you create contact, it's a flag, whereas if you are playing the ball and there's contact, there's definitely some more leeway there. It was not the most egregious penalty you will ever see from White, but at the end of the day, it is a penalty. You can, it's a fair call to make, even though sometimes they don't call that one. I think it's a totally fair call to make, especially in today's NFL. They feel more comfortable calling a penalty at this point than not calling a penalty at this point. So White's got to be a little bit more careful in that situation, but at the same time, you'll at least take that. If that's your one mistake, pass interference at the goal line, which doesn't give him any yards, just gives him a 1st down. It's not the end of the world, something you would like to see avoided, but at the end of the day, it is still better than a touchdown. And I'm bringing that play up just to be fair and say, listen, he did not have a perfect game, but he still had a very good game given the fact that he was going up against a great receiver. And I also really like this play where, once again, it's going to be White on Beckham, and the way it's going to work is that Beckham is going to run that route right there, just an out route. It should be pretty simple. However, Beckham is not going to run this in a pretty simple way. Right when his ball is snapped, first thing he's going to do is fake as though he's going down, but then go back up a little bit, which is going to fool White a little. As you see, White's now creating some contact as he realizes, okay, Beckham can absolutely run over and, get open in this situation. So then when Beckham makes a move back to the bottom half of the screen, this in most situations is game over. I mean, not only is there separation right now, but they're facing two completely different directions right now. It was a great move by Beckham, and that's what he does. I mean, it's going to happen. When you're a guy like Tre'Davious White, even if you are a great corner, there are going to be times when a great receiver makes a great move and you get beat a little bit. It's going to happen. However, watch how he comes back so quickly, is able to help knock this ball away, and it's an incomplete pass. I mean, that's just a great job of not giving up on the play, hustling to help disrupt things, and he was able to disrupt it enough that it was incomplete. Maybe Odell could have still found a way to catch that one, but regardless, he didn't. So that's kind of what White does. Even when he gets beat, he finds a way to have it not matter, which I think is not easy to do, but very impressive. And one last play I liked about this situation is just understanding his role. And this is what I mean by it, where it's going to be a cover 2 man, and that's where White is. He's once again going up against Beckham, and for Beckham, that's the route he will be running. So, hopefully it'll cut before he gets to the safeties who are deep, and then if he can just win his one-on-one matchup, there will be a window where Baker can hopefully make this throw if you're a Cleveland Browns fan. But one thing you see White doing right off the bat is the way to look at how he's defending Beckham here. Not only is there no contact, but he is solely focused on keeping Beckham closer to the bottom half of the screen, because he knows if Beckham runs an out route or runs something like that, then White can simply just break over and knock the ball away, and so he's just focused on keeping Beckham towards the outside, not letting Beckham get towards the middle. If it's a slant route, he could potentially be in trouble, but anything else, he won't be, so he's just defending against the slant route right here. So when Beckham continues to run deep, now, as you see, you would think that he would be in a bad situation, but of course, there's a safety who's deep. So is there a window where Mayfield could make this throw? I mean, kind of, but it's an incredibly small window. You have two defensive backs in either situation. It's going to take a great throw and a great catch, and more often than not, you just have to trust that that's not going to happen too often. It's a very rare thing to happen, and if it does happen, you just kind of got to say, okay, you know what, good job, but 99 out of 100 times, this is going to be an incomplete pass. And this time it was actually underthrown, and White probably intercepts that one if his safety didn't come over and knock him out of the way. Bit of an error there, but that would have been an interception from White had that not happened. So really just as a whole, tremendous play by him. So yeah, I mean, I thought that while the Odell Beckham Jr. versus Tre'Davious White matchup was a lot of fun to watch, I really thought that White got the better of Odell throughout most of the game. I really did. Granted, I mean, at the end of the day, it didn't matter. The Cleveland Browns still won, but I still thought that he played really, really well. And so I want to talk about, not always just the guy who leads his team to victory, but sometimes the guy who plays very well in a loss. And I thought White played very well, maybe his best game of the season, just in terms of who he had to go up against and still being able to thrive. So that's why I want to make a video about him, even though, the Browns did win that football game. But yeah, that's what I thought of White's performance. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and as always, thanks for watching.